Hey guys, it's Tana. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to work on two cards with a stamp set from Rabbit Hole Designs. And we'll see if we can get through it without Jax coming down. He learned how to climb over his gate. So, unfortunately, I have no idea what happened to the coloring portion of this video. I did show me coloring one of the octopus, or octop I don't even know how to say the plural for that. So if somebody knows how, leave it in the comments below. But it was like somebody messed with my Zoom or something when I had it set up, and it was like totally crooked off camera. So I wasn't gonna put that on here. I just used some aquamarine Nuvo embellishment mousse and covered this piece of cardstock with it. And then I took two pieces of purple tape and flipped them upside down on either side. A little tip I learned from Justine Hovey, so that I could stick my stencil over that. But I don't know why, because I ended up spraying the stencil with pixie dust anyway. And we're setting that aside while we wait for the pixie dust to dry this full 60 seconds. And I took a wonky rectangle stitch die from Simon Says Stamp and cut out a Nina 110 pound panel, cardstock panel with that. So now we're back to the dried stencil, and we're going to play around with some glacier paste. I didn't show it, I cut it out, but I did try to use the blending brush first. This stuff is just too thin for the blending brush. You're going to waste more inside of the brush than you actually do on the paper. So I stopped using it and switched back to a palette knife, and I just spread the stuff straight across my handmade stencil there. And it looks very pretty. These two colors look very pretty together. They complement each other. And then we're going to set that aside to dry. Now here I'm trying to show you how much glitter is actually in this glacier paste. Guys, it's in the paste, but it was still everywhere. It was all over the cloth I used to clean up. It was smeared across my desk. It was on my hands. Not to say that it couldn't clean up easily. It doesn't blow around like regular glitter, but there is definitely a lot of sparkle in that stuff. So here I'm going to use this Neat and Tangled, we'll call it the Splat stamp for now, but I'll have it listed below. I totally forgot the name of it, because on this second card I wanted these splats to kind of be the main focal point, and the ones that come in the Rabbit Hole Design stamp set were just too small. I'm using Grape Crush for that first larger splat, and I inked it up twice and then went over it with clear embossing powder. And then I'm going to do a couple smaller ones. So one of them is going to be with the color Royal Treatment, and the third one's going to be with the color Pixie Dust, and both of those will get clear embossing powder as well. And that is Ranger clear embossing powder. I go through a lot of clear embossing powder, so I have several brands. I think my Hero Arts is almost gone. And I don't know if you just heard that, but Jax is standing at the gate calling for Daddy. Wait till he sees it. Jax can climb out. He was gone at Horseshoes, so he doesn't really know. I forgot to tell him. So there's that third splat there. And we're just going to cover that with some embossing powder and heat it up real quick. And that panel's done. Oh, Daddy came to his rescue. We'll see what happens. Now I'm going to take some of that Grape Crush and add some water to it with my water brush, and I'm just going to tap some more spots onto my paper just so that it had some tiny spots of color, some flecks of color that aren't really big splats. And I think that gave it a nice touch. I kind of played with the idea of doing the lighter one also, but decided to just leave it with the Grape Crush. If anybody's interested in the Copic colors for the octopus, or either or all three of them, let me know. The purple one was actually colored with my Nuvo alcohol marker set that I just bought, or bought with the gift card that I won from Simon Says Stamp, and it was fun to color it. I like those three colors together. And we're just going to pop this panel up with some of that thin, cheap foam tape from Amazon. Like I said, two for $12.99. I haven't listed that stuff yet, but if any of you guys are interested in it, it does work, it does stick, but it would take two layers of it to equal the height of a regular foam tape like scotch. for example. And the octopuses also popped up on some foam squares because the other layer was kind of skinny, so I could do the dual layer of foam tape. Now we're going to ink up our sentiment in Simon Says Stamp clear embossing ink, and we're going to use it on black cardstock, which I have used my powder bag on, and we're going to use some Ranger Superfine Detail white embossing powder and heat that up. And I think this is the sentiment that says just inking of you. We'll see it in a second, but I'm pretty sure that's what I used. I don't have the cards in front of me. I should really start doing that. It will pick my memory better if I do that. And I'm using a Neat and Tangled skinny strip dies to cut that out. Word of advice for those dies, it's easier to cut the strip out and then stamp your sentiment than it is to try and line it up evenly after you've already stamped the sentiment. Just so you know for future reference. I did put another piece of skinny foam tape on this to pop it up and have it coming out from right underneath the octopus tentacles. There's the word I was looking for. I did have a lot of fun coloring all three of them. I'm going to avoid trying to use the plural for that. I like the color combinations that I chose. Now Charlie's making a lot of noise, so I apologize if you can hear her. And I trimmed that second panel down to 4 by 5 1/4. And we're gonna, instead of using a sentiment from the stamp set, we're going to use the Simply Thanks die from MFT. So I decided to use my new English Heather Nuvo embellishment mousse. Just took a scrap piece of Bristol and spread that on there, and then I hit it with the heat tool just to dry it enough to put it through the Gemini Junior. Now I did try to use Rock Candy Glitter by Tim Holtz. I used alcohol ink in it to turn it pink. I had made it a couple months ago and I wanted to try, but it would not stick to the embellishment mousse even if I sprayed it with water. You should have seen me, you guys. I mean, a little bit stuck, but it's not going to stay there. It definitely won't stay on that paper. I was even trying to push it into my splat box to pick up some of the glitter. It looks pretty when I'm flashing it past the camera, but you can't really tell that I did it. I was trying to make it as sparkly as the glacier paste because I only have one color of glacier paste right now. Yeah, it didn't work. So I just poked those out, and now we're putting double-sided 1/4 inch tape on the back of the panel. We're just going to stick that flat to a white card base. And I don't use Nina anymore for my card bases. I save that for my alcohol ink coloring. I use the Park Lane that you can pick up at Joann Fabrics, and it's 110-pound cardstock, and I think it's good enough for card bases. Not for coloring so much. It bleeds too much, but it's good for card bases. Still have a paper review on my list to do. And we're going to pop those two octopuses. We're just going to call them octopuses because somebody needs to tell me what the plural is. Not a word I use in everyday life, guys. And then I kind of maneuvered the letters of the word thanks up and down and sideways to vary them just so I didn't have to put them on there perfectly straight. Plus I thought it was fun that they kind of looked like they were following one of the waves of the stencil. So I thought that was a cute idea. After we get that S glued on there, I'm going to take some Studio Katia clear droplets, and I think they're 4mm droplets. They'll be listed below as usual. And once again, too lazy to bring out my gem picker, so I just used my fingers, glued those on with my Lawn Fawn tube. And that's it for the second card, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope that you get some inspiration and try Rabbit Hole Design stamp sets. They have some hilarious little images and sentiments. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you like what you saw and you're not a subscriber yet, and hit that notification button to be aware of all our giveaways. There's at least one every month, guys. We will talk to you soon. Bye bye for now.